up. Okay, here we go. We're going to get started with the official webinar, and we are recording. Welcome to the National Organic Program's webinar on the Strengthening Organic Enforcement Proposed Rule. My name is Jennifer Tucker, and I am the National Organic Program's Deputy Administrator here at the Agricultural Marketing Service. I am joined by Shannon Nally-Yanessa, Director of the NOP Standards Division. We appreciate you all being here today. Many hands have made today's webinar possible. Staff from across the NOP contributed to the writing and review of the rule, so I want to thank all of them for the hard work. We have also gotten terrific feedback and insights over the past 2 years from across the organic community. All of you have contributed in meaningful ways to the rule we're going to talk about. I also want to thank the National Organic Standards Board, both present and past members, for a number of recommendations that are integrated into this rule. A lot of hard work by a lot of people over the years. So thank you to all of you. Again, we've hit now the 660 mark on attendees, and I think that really does highlight the interest in this rule and the number of people who have contributed to its development over the years. So again, thank you all for being here and being part of this overview webinar. I'm going to cover some logistics now. This webinar is being recorded and will be available on the AMS website. We have activated chat, so you should be able to send messages to us and to each other during the event. All your names and chats are considered part of the public record and are being recorded. They are not, however, treated as public comments. All public comments must be submitted through the rule docket once the rule is published. Now, we do not yet have a publication date for this rule. We're giving a preview of the rule today, but again, it has not yet been published. We will send out another Organic Insider once the rule is published to open the official public comment period. Again, if you want to get a running start, there is an unofficial draft of the rule on the website. It was posted on just the last hour, and we have pasted in a link to that page in the chat, and I will periodically repaste that in case you don't see it if you logged in a little bit later than we copied that in. Okay, so you can find the rule on the AMS website, but the formal public comment period has not yet started. Okay, now let's start on our overview of this Strengthening Organic Enforcement Proposed Rule. Protecting the integrity of the USDA organic label is the top priority of the National Organic Program. The proposed rule supports this mission by strengthening organic control systems, improving farm-to-market traceability, and ensuring robust enforcement of the organic regulations. This presentation will discuss what the Strengthening Organic Enforcement Proposed Rule is, who is affected by the rule, why the NOP is publishing the rule now, how the rule will strengthen enforcement, the economic costs and benefits, and how to comment on the proposed rule once published. First, a little background. Strengthening Organic Enforcement, or SOE, updates several sections of the USDA organic regulations. These regulations set standards for the production, labeling, sale, and handling of organic food, feed, and fiber. SOE focuses on improving the enforcement of these standards. The need for improved enforcement and oversight is driven by a changing organic market, which has evolved considerably since the original regulations were first introduced nearly 20 years ago. The amendments in the proposed rule are designed to meet the needs of a dynamic organic market and to respond to new and emerging challenges. SOE will implement several provisions from the 2018 Farm Bill, as well as multiple recommendations from the National Organic Standards Board. It also includes amendments based on the National Organic Program's experience administering the program, particularly lessons learned during complaint investigations and audits of certifiers, as well as feedback from the USDA Office of Inspector General, from farmers, handlers, trade groups, and other organic stakeholders. Who is affected? Because protecting the USDA organic seal is a shared responsibility, the changes made by SOE affect businesses across the entire organic supply chain, including USDA accredited certifiers, organic inspectors, and certified organic operations such as farms and processors. The proposed rule also affects businesses that buy, sell, or trade organic products but are not currently certified organic. Examples may include brokers, traders, importers, and exporters who deal in organic products. The proposed rule leverages the unique role of each affected party to ensure a comprehensive improvement in oversight and enforcement. Although those affected may have to make changes to their practices, much of SOE standardizes and codifies existing best practices already used by these stakeholders. So why is SOE needed now? The SOE proposed rule is needed to better enforce the expanding organic market, which has grown steadily since the organic regulations were first introduced. Sales of organic products in the United States increased from $22.1 billion in 2008 to $55.1 billion in 2019. Although this success is a remarkable achievement for the organic industry, it has created new and unique challenges for the current system of organic oversight and enforcement. Why is it needed now? Growing consumer demand for organic products has drawn many businesses to the organic label, including producers, handlers, suppliers, importers, brokers, and distributors. In addition, organic supply chains have become longer and more complex in response to consumer demand for a broader variety of organic products. This complexity sometimes causes organic products to be handled or sold by businesses that are not certified organic. Because the current organic regulations do not clearly specify which of these businesses need organic certification, some handlers and sellers in the organic supply chain have no oversight from certifiers or the NOP. This hinders product traceability and increases the potential for fraud, where non-organic products may be illicitly labeled as organic. It is clear that today's changing organic market demands stronger enforcement to ensure consistent implementation of the USDA organic regulations. SOE supports enforcement by standardizing and clarifying roles and responsibilities of businesses in the organic supply chain. Let's talk about how the organic community will benefit. In addition to supporting the NOP's mission to protect the USDA organic seal, SOE will benefit the organic community by directly providing stronger tools and processes for certifiers and certified operations to help ensure full compliance with the organic regulations, robust and consistent enforcement of the organic regulations by the USDA and by certifiers, and improved farm-to-market traceability across organic supply chains. Together, these will lead to strong consumer and farmer trust in the organic label and a level playing field for all organic farms and businesses. We're now going to transition to talking about the concrete aspects of what the rule does. As you're listening to this and as you read the rule, I encourage you to think about the different provisions themselves and how they fit together to protect organic integrity across different control systems. The next part of the presentation will be led by Shannon Nally-Yanessa, the Director of the Standards Division. Shannon has served as the project manager for this role since the early phases of its development. It has been a tremendous project with many writers, many interdependencies, and many reviews. Her calm and smart leadership has been pivotal to this project's success. Let's all give Shannon a Zoom round of applause. And so the way we do that is, whether we can see you or not, just wave both hands into the camera to give Shannon and the rest of the team a round of applause. So Shannon, thank you for all your work, and I turn it over to you.
Thank you, and thank you, Jenny, for your unwavering support and guidance. This success is shared among a really superb team from across the National Organic Program. This team spent many, many hours discussing, asking questions, writing, editing, and then repeating that cycle. And they deserve recognition for the content of the proposed rule. SOE will improve enforcement and oversight from across the supply chain, from farm to market, to ensure comprehensive and effective responses to today's challenges in the organic market. The proposed rule includes many amendments, but most importantly, it reduces the types of businesses exempt from organic certification. It requires electronic NOP import certificates for all organic products entering the United States. It clarifies record-keeping and fraud prevention procedures to improve supply chain traceability, and it standardizes requirements for on-site inspection of organic operations to strengthen oversight. Together, these changes provide certifiers, organic businesses, and the NOP the tools that we need to safeguard the integrity of complex organic supply chains. I'll begin by discussing one of the biggest threats to organic integrity: uncertified businesses in organic supply chains. As mentioned earlier, some types of handlers have no oversight or enforcement from certifiers or the NOP under current regulations, creating gaps in oversight that increase the risk of fraud and mishandling that can compromise organic products. The proposed rule addresses this by limiting the types of businesses that are exempt from certification. SOE requires organic certification of any businesses that buy, sell, or trade organic products, facilitate or negotiate the purchase, sale, or trade of organic products between buyers and sellers. This means that currently exempt businesses like brokers, traders, importers, and exporters may need to be certified organic if they handle organic products, even if they may not ever physically possess or take ownership of the organic products they help sell or trade. To become certified, these businesses must follow the same steps as any other applicant for organic certification, including submitting an application to a USDA accredited certifier, allowing an on-site inspection to verify eligibility, receiving award of organic certification to allow handling of organic products, and allowing an annual inspection to ensure compliance. It's important to understand that the need for certification is based on the activities a business performs. SOE requires more businesses to be certified, but many businesses, like most retailers and transporters, will continue to be exempt from organic certification. Let's continue on with what the rule does by looking at import certificates. To improve oversight of the organic supply chain, SOE will also address organic imports. Imports help meet strong domestic demand for organic products, but they can create special challenges to enforcement and traceability due to their long and complex supply chains. To ensure that all organic imports adhere to the USDA organic standard, the proposed rule requires electronic NOP import certificates for each shipment of organic products entering the United States. The NOP import certificate helps ensure compliance of imported organic products by providing traceability to the port of entry and creating an auditable record trail that can be used for traceability. Data from the import certificate must be uploaded to the U.S. Customs and Border Protection's Automated Commercial Environment System, or ACE. ACE is the electronic system used to log and track all imports to the United States. The collected data will help the NOP identify patterns of fraud and conduct investigations. Import certificates are currently used for organic products imported from certain countries, such as European Union countries, South Korea, and Japan. SOE requires NOP import certificates for all organic products, regardless of country of origin. Other governments, such as the European Union, already require import certificates, so this helps harmonize global trade standards. A cornerstone of the SOE proposed rule is improved record keeping to support traceability of organic products. Because the organic certification system is built upon trusted relationships and verifiable traceability is critical to ensuring the compliance of all organic products. Successful traceability begins at the operation level. Each certified organic farm or business must be able to trace the movement of organic products within their operation back to suppliers and forward to their customers. SOE therefore requires that certified operations maintain records that document a product's source and chain of custody, including clear identification of products as organic on all records and non-retail labels. SOE also requires that certified operations develop and implement monitoring practices and procedures to detect and prevent fraud and verify products and suppliers. Commonly known as fraud prevention plans, these procedures can help prevent and quickly contain fraud at the operation level before it ripples through the supply chain. Certifiers also play an important role in fraud prevention and traceability. SOE requires that USDA accredited certifiers take additional steps to safeguard the integrity of organic supply chains. First, certifiers must develop criteria to identify organic operations and products that may be at high risk of organic fraud. Using these criteria, certifiers must also conduct supply chain audits of high-risk products they certify. Full supply chain audits allow certifiers to verify the origin and chain of custody of organic products, and importantly, detect fraudulent products and trigger enforcement action. Finally, certifiers must share compliance-related information about certified operations with other certifiers. This includes information needed for supply chain audits, fraud detection, certification, and any other compliance-related information. Inspections are the primary tool certifiers use to assess compliance of certified organic operations. SOE includes several amendments that standardize and strengthen the requirements for on-site inspections. The proposed rule requires that all certifiers conduct unannounced inspections of at least 5% of the operations they certify annually. During full on-site inspections, certifiers must conduct mass balance audits to check that quantities of organic products received match what is sold, and traceback audits to verify a product's source and chain of custody. SOE also addresses certification of grower groups. These operations present unique challenges because they organize many members under a single organic certification, are often distributed across diverse geographic areas, and use a unique additional layer of oversight, the internal control system. To help provide adequate oversight of grower groups, the proposed rule contains specific practices certifiers must use when certifying and inspecting grower groups. And finally, because the role of organic inspectors is so critical to organic enforcement, the SOE proposed rule requires that inspectors must meet minimum training, experience, and education criteria. This will ensure that all organic inspectors all organic operations are inspected by qualified individuals who apply to USDA organic standards consistently. In addition to the highlights already discussed, the Strengthening Organic Enforcement proposed rule also includes other amendments addressing topics such as organic equivalence determinations, clarified mediation procedures, standardized certificates of organic operation, and multiple offices operated by a single certifier. For a detailed description of all the amendments, please read the full proposed rule. As part of SOE's development, we estimated potential costs and benefits to gauge who would be impacted and how. This slide shows the total estimated costs and benefits to all organic industry, annualized over 15 years. As you can see, the benefits are expected to far exceed the costs to the organic industry. First, let's talk about the costs. The estimated cost of $7.3 million includes the annualized costs to all affected domestic businesses to implement the new requirements in SOE. Most of the estimated costs are due to changes in reporting and record-keeping requirements, also known as paperwork burden. The total cost also includes the estimated cost of certification of new handlers such as brokers, traders, importers, and exporters. Now turning to the benefits, we estimate that the annualized benefits of this proposed rule will be $85 million. Using data from the Organization for Economic and Cooperation and Development, we estimate that 2% of the value of all organic products sold in the United States is attributed to fraudulent products. We expect that SOE will reduce the rate of organic fraud by half, from 2% to 1%. This reduction in fraud would prevent consumers from paying an estimated $85 million in illicit price premiums for products fraudulently labeled as organic. For more information about the costs and benefits, please read the economic analysis that accompanies the proposed rule. Now let's focus on the estimated cost per business. We also estimated the proposed rule's first year per business costs for organic operations in the United States. The cost to organic certifiers is estimated to be $15,100 for each certifier located in the United States. This includes costs to organic inspectors and certification review staff. Part of the estimated cost is due to a one-time, non-recurring upload of data to the USDA's Organic Integrity Database. Costs to certifiers in subsequent years will be reduced to about half this estimate. SOE requires organic certification of new handlers such as brokers, traders, importers, and exporters. We estimate that approximately 1,000 new handlers will need organic certification, and that the cost to obtain certification and comply with the rule will be approximately $4,900 for each new handler. The proposed rule will also affect nearly 25,000 certified organic operations in the United States, including farmers, handlers, and processors. The estimated costs for these operations to comply with the proposed rule are low, approximately $60 per year for each certified operation. Now, Jenny, back to you.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Shannon. So now that Shannon has told you what is in the rule, I want to note an additional section of the rule that is called Additional Amendments Considered, but not included in the rule. These are 3 areas where we're requesting public comments to inform possible future exploration. The first area relates to labeling requirements related to private label products. The second area relates to the expiration of organic certification, not the certificates, but certification itself. The third area relates to fees associated with accreditation and enforcement. The rule explains more about the thoughts in these areas, and we're interested in reading your comments in return. So now let's turn to next steps. The Strengthening Organic Enforcement proposed rule has been sent to the Federal Register and will publish soon. We do not have a date yet. You will be able to find the rule by going to regulations.gov and searching for AMS.NOP.17-0065 or Strengthening Organic Enforcement. Luckily, that information will also be on the AMS website, so you can access it there. The regulatory impact analysis and a side-by-side comparison of the current and proposed regulatory text will be available on regulations.gov. The proposed rule will be open to public comment for 60 days after publication. We encourage you to read the proposed rule and submit your public comments on regulations.gov once the public comment period opens. We asked specific questions throughout the rule on topics for which we need additional information. This is your opportunity to provide constructive feedback, suggest alternatives, and voice your opinion. Once the public comment period closes, NOP will begin writing the SOE final rule. All public comments will be carefully considered in developing the final rule. We're proposing that once the final rule is published, all affected entities will have 1 year to comply with the new requirements. Now let's talk about how to submit an effective comment. And so during this discussion, I want to first acknowledge all the chats that are coming in with some very specific questions and very specific thoughts about the rule already. So you guys are fast readers. What I'd like to suggest is before you read the rule, go ahead and write down all your questions and then see if the answers are in the rule. If they're not, then that might be a good comment. So if you don't have your question answered in reading the rule and you think it might be an area of question, go ahead and consider putting that into your public comments. And in fact, kind of brainstorming your list of questions or concerns will help guide your reading of the rule in the areas that you have the most interest in. We are not going to answer these specific questions during this webinar. The goal of the webinar is to provide an overview of the rule and then give you this roadmap to public comments. But keep the questions you wrote in the chat boxes because they're good ones. And so you want to have those in your head or as a reference list as you're actually reading the rule and putting in your public comments. So thank you for the quick and early engagement on that rule process. Okay. So now let's talk about a structured way of submitting public comments to the register. Okay? Public comments are one of the most important resources for AMS in developing a final rule. The most helpful comments focus on the issues that most concern or affect you and describe your interest or experience in the market. Again, some pretty specific comments and questions already in the chat box. So as you're developing your comments, think about, why is that question important to you? If it's not already addressed somewhere in the rule, give us some thoughts on how you think it should be addressed. If you ask a question, give us what you think the answer should be and why and how that would impact you. So talking about impacts and talking about possible alternatives will help us write the best final rule possible to meet everyone's interests and needs. So to submit a public comment, the most convenient way is to go to regulations.gov and search for the docket number. Again, instead of reading that to you again, we'll put it on the screen. And we have on a number of times texted in the page to the AMS site. Now, somebody's already chatted in saying that you can't find the proposed rule on regulations.gov. That is correct. If you go and search now, you won't be able to find it. It has not yet been published, and we do not yet have a publication date. So once it's published, then you'll be able to go and search on the code. Our goal in this webinar is give everybody kind of a running start on what's in the rule and to be able to access the draft rule from the AMS website. You won't be able to submit your public comment until the date of actual publication, okay? Now, once public comment period is open, you will be able to find that document. You'll be able to click on a button that says comment now. So that will be how you will do it. And again, it'll be available from the AMS website. We will send out an Organic Insider announcing the publication date once it is available. We do expect it to be soon. We've sent it over to the Federal Register, and so we do expect that soon, but we do not have an exact date. Now, once public comments are open, only comments received before the public comment period closes will be accepted. So make sure that you read the proposed rule and get those comments in before the deadline. We look forward to reviewing and assessing your feedback. Again, an informal copy of the rule is now available on the AMS site to give you a running start on reading the rule. Next slide. And that concludes our overview of the National Organic Program Strengthening Organic Enforcement Proposed Rule. So for more information about the program and about organic certification, you can visit the AMS website. We're going to go ahead and leave the chat line open for just a couple of minutes for any final messages before we end the call. But in the meantime, I want to thank Shannon for a great presentation and again, great work on this rule. I want to thank the community for being here today and for your attention and contributions to this rule so far. And thank you in advance for the public comments that you will be giving us. The recording to this webinar will be posted on the AMS website. It may take us a couple of days. For accessibility reasons, we need to closed caption it, and so that can take a little bit of time to close caption and then post the webinar. So give us a couple of days on that. Again, we'll send out an Organic Insider once the rule has actually been published and the clock starts on the public comment period. I want to again thank you so much for being here. Many thanks to the NOP team, many thanks to the community. We're going to keep the line open for a couple of minutes for any final chats that come in, but I want to thank you again for being here. So I'm going to stop talking, let the chats continue for a little bit, and I will give you a heads up before we terminate the call and thereby the chat. So again, thank you for being here and have a great rest of the day. And we're seeing a lot of final thank yous. Appreciate the feedback. Again, this community has been incredibly vital in drafting this proposed rule. A lot of people have put a lot of thought into these issues over the years. Again, the fact that we still have this many people on the webinar with us, I think, is a tribute to the interest in this and the engagement in this topic over the years. So very grateful for the interest. A couple people have asked what was the final number of attendees. It was over 900, so more than 900 people logged in for this webinar. Yeah. And so the proposed rule is on the AMS website. The Organic Insider that went out this morning at around 10 a.m. did have a link to the rule. And so if you can't find that page for whatever reason, it should still be in the chat stream. But if you can't find that link for whatever reason, you can go to the Organic Insider page on the AMS NOP website. If you go to Google and just search in NOP Organic Insider, you'll be able to get to the Organic Insider page. The insider from this morning will be on it. We'll have a link to the page. We will be posting the recorded webinar on that same page. Somebody else has just linked in again the link. The press release will be posted once the rule is actually published. Again, this was a preview webinar to give folks a running start. The official release will come once the rule has been published. So again, thank you very much for attending. We continue to see the attendee count drop, but we've got enough still people on it. I'm going to let the chat box keep going for a little bit. You know what? Harriet just texted in, and you know what? We might give Harriet, as the former chair, one of the final words here. So thank you for the kind note, Harriet. I think that's actually a nice way to end the webinar. So thank you, Harriet, for your service on the board and for being here today. So thanks, everyone, for being here. We're going to go ahead and, Devin, let's go ahead and stop the recording. And thanks so much for the support.